wasn't that big a deal.
No? I mean, you've been talking trash about her for a while, right? Saying that she was a joke, that you were going to kick her ass.
Law and Order mentions Caitlin Clark, and people are losing it. So, Caitlin Clark just made an appearance, not in person, but in dialogue, on Law and Order, SVU, and let me tell you, people are not happy. The episode aired on April 10th. It's season 24, episode 18, and it's called Bubble Wrap. Now, I obviously can't show you the actual clip, copyright and all that. But don't worry, I'll walk you through the scene and break down exactly why it's causing such a stir. This whole thing taps right back into the endless debate. Why is Caitlin Clark so popular? There are two loud camps. One side says, she's only getting this attention because she's white. That's it. The other side fires back with, you're delusional. She's popular because she's insanely talented and changing the game. Now, I'm just gonna say it. If being white was all it took, Sabrina Ionescu would have blown the league wide open. Stewie would have done it. Even Cam Brink, who's making an impact, hasn't shaken the league the way Caitlin Clark has. So clearly, it's not just about race. But anyway, back to Law and Order. Here's the key moment from the episode. One character is being confronted about threatening another WNBA player and says, "Come on, man. It was just talk. I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. And then these white girls come along. Karen Adler, Caitlin Clark. Funny, right? One of them's even named Karen. You can't write this stuff. But I guess they did. Then they hit you with, they're instant superstars. Everyone's saying they put the league on the map. They're getting the endorsements, the sponsorships. Yeah, it's messed up. But you gotta admit, there's something special about her game though, right? And the reply? She's white. That's it. That's the line. And phew, Twitter exploded. Credit to Correlation on Twitter who posted the clip, saying something like, Caitlin mentioned on Law and Order. The writers just be reading Twitter all day. What? With crying laughing emojis and everything. But seriously, people are frustrated. Some feel like the show just recycled the same old social media debates instead of doing something fresh or nuanced. Others think it hit too close to home. And yeah, some are still stuck arguing whether Caitlin's fame is earned. Here's my take. Yes, race plays a role in how people are perceived. That's just real. But Caitlin Clark is dominating because of what she does on the court. Period. She's not just hype. She backs it up. And frankly, a lot of us are tired of seeing her greatness boiled down to skin color. Anyway, rant over for now. Let me know what you think. Did Law and Order go too far? Or did they just say the quiet part out loud? There's this one response saying, people on shows like these are some of the big reasons why Trump won. People are exhausted, as if being white and dominating is a sin. And listen, I'm not here to say that there aren't issues that do exist in that area of things, but I think that in this conversation it is kind of tired, because there is just so much like statistical data to prove why people are invested and interested and can't stop looking at Caitlin Clark like she has broken a record for records for as a rookie. She has done things nobody else has done, and I say this a lot with the whole doing things that nobody else has done, because that's the kicker, folks, and it's the way she plays. Like, she may have a whole bunch of turnovers, but she does things in a way that you haven't seen. She does things that are exciting to watch. She has grown men. So Shane Gillis was recently on his podcast talking about how starstruck he was over Caitlin Clark. He even mentioned inviting her to the green room and being kind of nervous around her, which is hilarious and also says a lot, because Shane's not exactly the shy type. Now back to the Law and Order SVU episode that aired on April 10th, season 24, episode 18, called Bubble Wrap. There's a scene that directly name drops Caitlin Clark, and it's causing a lot of buzz online. Correlation posted it on Twitter, and someone replied perfectly saying, Caitlin Clark is popular because she dominates the court and shatters records. Not because she's white. Law and Order misses the plot, just like real life. Facts. And listen, I actually made a post about all of this on my own Twitter. Kind of poking fun at the situation, not the feelings behind it. Because look, I understand. There's real history, real generational trauma behind race issues, especially in America. So it's not something to laugh at or ignore. But the specific conversation around Caitlin Clark's popularity? It's getting exhausting. After I posted that, someone replied saying one of the Law and Order writers is a fan of the New York Liberty. Now, I can't confirm or deny that, but it would make sense. The show is written and filmed in New York, so if a Liberty fan was in the writer's room, you could see how that angle might sneak into the dialogue. At first, I was like, these writers clearly don't watch the WNBA. Because that line, she's white, as the reason for Clark's stardom, it's just lazy. It misses so much context. Here's the thing. If the only reason Caitlin Clark was popular was because she's white, then why didn't Breanna Stewart turn the league upside down after winning 4 national championships at UConn? Why didn't Sabrina Ionescu, who was practically a media darling, do it? Don't get me wrong. Stewie is generational. She's one of the greatest college players of all time. Sabrina? Unbelievable talent. But they're not out here dropping logo threes like it's nothing. They're not throwing cross-court assists and threading needles at the rate Caitlin Clark is. Sabrina has range, sure. But Caitlin consistently hits those logo bombs. She was doing it at Iowa against teams like Michigan and Michigan State. Not with a loaded roster like UConn or even Oregon. Iowa wasn't stacked. That was a mid-level team, and Caitlin Clark made it must-watch basketball. She changed the perception of what was possible at the college level. And now she's doing it in the pros. So again, while race absolutely plays a role in how people are perceived, everywhere, not just in sports, it's also very clear that Caitlin Clark's rise is about what she does on the court. It's about her game. She's shifting the culture. That's not something you can fake or explain away with just one reason. So, in this whole conversation around Caitlin Clark, I think one tweet in particular really hits the nail on the head. It said something along the lines of, "In today's world, being white and dominating feels like a sin." And honestly, that kind of captures the vibe a lot of people are reacting to. Because let's be clear, Caitlin Clark is dominating. Statistically, she's among the best in the game. Not just the WNBA, not just college basketball, but in basketball, period. And here's the thing about stats. They don't care about race. Numbers are numbers. They don't bend based on skin color. And here's a wild stat for you. Her average three-point range is actually further than Steph Curry's. Let that sink in. Steph Curry, the guy who literally changed the entire NBA with his deep shooting. Caitlin is out here pulling up from even further out. That's insane. You can call me a glazer. You can call me a fangirl. And you know what? I am. I'm a fan. But I'm a fan because of what she does on the court. The facts are there. Now don't get it twisted. I'm a fan of the whole league. I love Nafisa Collier, Courtney Williams. Stewie is always a bucket. And I really respect what Sabrina brings to the game. But let's be real. No one is doing what Caitlin Clark is doing right now. No one's making noise like she is. That's why a lot of my content revolves around her. She's exciting to watch. She makes basketball feel electric. And beyond that, her off-court presence? She's classy, gracious, and pretty unbothered by the noise. She handles the spotlight better than most. Now sure, on the court she's fiery. She's got that competitive edge, that chip. Whether it's Angel Reese, Marina Mabrey, whoever, trash talk happens. It's part of the game. As long as it doesn't get out of hand, I'm here for it. Caitlin talks her talk and backs it up. That's what makes sports fun. She's not perfect, nobody is, but she's special. And people can try to boil it down to race, to privilege, to whatever. But at the end of the day, she's doing things we've never seen before. That's why the world is watching. And if you guys are interested in what Shane Gillis said about Caitlin Clark, it's actually pretty cool and honestly kind of funny. So if you don't know who Shane Gillis is, he's a stand-up comedian, pretty big name in the comedy scene, had shows on Netflix, all that. Anyway, he was talking about being in Indianapolis before one of his shows, and he said, "This is the house that Caitlin Clark built," referring to the Pacers arena. Which, hilarious, but also kind of facts right now with how much hype she brings. Then apparently later, while they were having lunch, he goes, "Man, it would be sick if Caitlin Clark came to the show." And he wasn't sure if it was her or maybe her boyfriend or someone she was with who was a fan. But he said he was walking around and then just saw Caitlin Clark. He invited her to hang out in the green room. And he openly admitted that he was starstruck by her. Like fully fanboy mode. Which, honestly, relatable.
I walked in and I was like, it's also, but yeah, she was one I was like, got me a little.
So, Shane Gillis also talked about how, for some reason, he had a priest with him on that tour. He literally called him his road priest. No explanation, just vibes, I guess. He even had to clarify that he doesn't normally bring a priest to all his shows, which, honestly, made the whole thing even funnier. But Caitlin Clark went to Catholic school, so I doubt she thought anything of it. Probably wasn't even weird to her. But again, this is just another wild testament to Caitlin Clark's phenomenal reach and impact. She's not just moving numbers or changing basketball. She's making grown men, sports guys who used to clown on the WNBA, totally flip the script. Like, Shane Gillis is big in comedy. He's been on Pat McAfee's show, he knows sports, and even he is out here fangirling over Caitlin Clark. And it's not just him. Remember Michael Thompson? Klay Thompson's dad? First overall pick in his draft class. Played with Magic Johnson and Kareem. Went toe-to-toe with Larry Bird. And he said he was starstruck when he saw Caitlin Clark in Indy. Like, literally couldn't even say hi. That's how powerful her presence is. So no, it's not just because of her race that people are drawn to her. That narrative doesn't hold up when you actually look around. I've said it before. I'm in conversation with so many Caitlin Clark fans online, and they come from every background, every walk of life. To act like her entire fan base is just one demographic is not only incorrect, it's dismissive to everyone else who genuinely loves what she brings to the game. At this point, I feel like we're all just gonna turn blue in the face from saying the same thing over and over again. And honestly, don't be surprised if blueberries get canceled next. If you made this far, don't forget like and subscribe. Press the bell icon for daily updates.
I just added a third to the people that have stunned me.
Who?
Caitlin Clark, dude.
What?
Caitlin Clark was at the show. I don't know if she was a fan or her boyfriend or I don't know who, but before the show, we were in Indianapolis on Saturday, and we were like, this is the house that Caitlin Clark built. We were talking about the Pacers arena, and then we were at lunch, and I was like, it'd be fucking sick if Caitlin Clark came to the show. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
And I was like pacing back and forth between the show and the green room, and then Caitlin Clark walked
Dude,
by.
that's just where she
And I
paces
was
too.
like, do you want to hang out in the green room? She was like, yeah, sure.
What?
Yeah.
That's
and then
sick.
I walked in and I was like, also, James brought his friend to fly back with us to Austin, who's a priest,
Okay.
which is great. He was awesome. But I did have a priest in the green room. It was me, Big J, who Soder was making fun of, looks like my goth stylist, and my road priest.
Road
Like
priest
having
would
to
be
explain
sick.
to people, like, I don't bring a priest all the time. Caitlin Clark, I don't bring a chaplain on the road.
Kind of the move though.
But yeah, she was one I was like, got me a little.